Hi everyone, and welcome to my online course for research methods in psychology. My name is Frank Losciavo, and I am your instructor. Today, I want to show you how to make a Qualtrics survey for our first research project. You should see a PDF file with instructions for this assignment posted on our course website. Be sure you have that right along with you. The bottom line is that we've written several questions to include in a survey assessing student anxiety and stress. This week, we want to feed those questions into an online Qualtrics survey so that we can begin collecting data. In this video, I'm going to get you started on that assignment. Let me show you how to use Qualtrics. So open up your browser and then go to qualtrics.ohio.edu. You'll need to log in using your OU username and password. I'm already logged in, so it opened right up. Qualtrics is relatively easy to use, but it can create really powerful online surveys. That said, the interface can be a little bit confusing until you get used to it, so just pay attention and I'll show you a couple tips and tricks. I've been using Qualtrics for a few years now, so you can see that I have a few projects already saved to my homepage. But here's my first tip for you. If you ever get lost in Qualtrics, find that homepage. It's a good place to start. So all you need to do is go to this little hamburger right here. This is where you can get to various sections of Qualtrics, but you can get right back to the homepage from there as well. So click on Home. All right, we're here to create a new survey. So let's go ahead and click on Create New Survey, and that's right down here. We want to create a new survey from scratch, so right over here, click on Survey from Scratch. Qualtrics will provide a brief description of what it is to create a survey from scratch. We want to get started, so go ahead and click on Get Started. Go ahead and give your new survey project a name, something like Psych 2120 Research Project Number 1. Saving it in the default Projects and Programs folder is fine. Right below, Qualtrics asks us, how do you want to start your survey? We do indeed want to create a blank survey project, so we can leave that as it is. So now just go ahead and click on Create Project. This project is now saved, and Qualtrics will save any changes we make as we go. So if you wanted to get out of Qualtrics and get back in later and continue working on this, you can do that really easily. Let me just show you. If you were to log out, when you log back in, you'd go to the home screen. And then on that home screen, you would see listed various projects that you're working on. And you might just have this one project. And at this point, you can just click on that project name to open it back up. There are various different views within Qualtrics. We will typically be in the survey building view. That brings us to about this point in the instructions. We're going to create a survey that has 3 basic sections, and those sections are often referred to as blocks. One block is going to display an introductory message for our respondents. Another block is going to contain all of the questions that we've developed. And then there will be a final block, a final section, that is the end of survey section that just thanks the respondents for their time. So let's look at each of those sections and let's fill in what we need to fill in. Let's work on that introductory message first. That's going to be in its own block. You can see that Qualtrics creates a question block by default automatically. So we need to add a new block. So right here, click on Add Block. It looks like Qualtrics didn't do anything, but if I scroll down a little bit, I can see there's a new block added. It says Block 1. I'm going to click on it, and I'm going to change the name. That's our introductory block. I'm just going to call it Intro Block. When you input information, you can hit Enter or you can hit Tab like I just did right there, and that takes you to the next field. Or when you enter information, you can just click somewhere else. The good news is that there are several ways to enter your data, and Qualtrics is actually pretty forgiving. It allows you to do it in a variety of ways. All right, within this introductory block, we want to add a new question. We're not actually adding a question, it's just going to be a message, but Qualtrics doesn't know that. So I clicked on Add New Question, and what I want to click at this point is Text Graphic, because that will allow me to type in text or add a graphic. So right down here in our intro block, you can see a question was added. And right in there, we can put the introductory text that we want. That brings us to about right here in the instructions. And here's the introductory message that I think we should all use, or at least something very close to it. Here we are back in Qualtrics in our intro block. I can just click on that question section and then type in the text that we want. To enter in that information, I'm just going to click somewhere else. That introduction, of course, is going to be at the beginning of the survey. So according to our instructions right here, it says move your intro block to the top of the survey. Let me show you how to do that. There are a variety of ways to move these blocks, but let me show you this first. If I wanted to apply some options to this question, as I'm in the question section, you see this ... and there are some options right there. Now, I don't need those right now, but if I move out to the entire block, you see I have some other options for the block. If I want to move the block, this is where I want to look at the options. So I'm going to click. And one option is Move Block. I'm going to click on that. One option that we have is to move it to the top of the survey. That's actually exactly what we want. But you can see that there are other options as well. So I'm going to click on Top of Survey and then confirm that I want to move it. Now you can see my intro block is at the top and the question block is below. That brings us to about right here in the instructions. It says, now let's work on the question block by adding the first question and the 5 response options. Here we are back at the survey, and I'm looking at the default question block. I don't like that name, so I'm just going to click on it, and I'm going to get rid of the word default. This is the question block. All of the primary questions that we enter about student stress and anxiety are going to be multiple choice. So this sample question that was provided to us by Qualtrics will serve as a nice base. All that we need to do is edit it. If you look at the last page of your instructions, you'll see all of the questions that we're going to use in the survey. At the time that I'm making this video, our class hasn't decided on exactly which questions to use yet. So the questions that I have listed here are just some sample questions. You'll want to enter the questions listed on the last page of your instructions. Let's go ahead and enter our first question. All you need to do is click on the text for that question, and then you can type it in or copy and paste it in. This sample question is asking about anxiety and stress when completing an exam. Once I get that text in there, I'm going to hit the Tab key. You can see the Tab key entered that information that I typed in, and it also took me to the next field. That next field is the first response option choice. Looking back at our instructions, we can see the response options right here. We need to enter those response options into Qualtrics. That first question was set up by default to have just 3 options. But if you look over here to the left, here are various options for setting up the question, and we can just click and include a couple more response options. Each of our primary questions is going to have the same format. So if we like the way that this is set up, all that we need to do is copy that question and then make some small edits so that we can add our other questions. And this is how we're going to do that. Within this question, I'm going to click on the options area, and then I'm going to click on copy. You can see right below it copied the question for me. Now all I need to do is click on the text of that question and enter in the new question that I need to use. I just pasted in that new question, and this one asks about anxiety and stress when speaking directly with teachers and professors. So I'm just going to click away, and that's going to enter the information for me. Let's take a look and see what the next question is. This one has to do with anxiety and stress when eating lunch in the school cafeteria. We'll use that same strategy. Within the question, we'll click on the options, and then we'll click on copy. As I scroll down, I can see a copy of that question. I'm going to click on the question text and then paste in the new text that I need. Now I'm going to click away, and that information is entered. So you'll want to continue using this strategy until you've entered all of the questions. By the way, along the way, you can see how your survey is looking by clicking on the preview button. That's right here. The preview opens in a new tab. At this point, we can see the introduction that we have, and then we can click through it. This shows the first question, and it shows it how it would look on a computer with a large screen, and also how it would look on a phone. So it's really pretty neat. You should go ahead and look at that preview several times just to get a sense of what you're doing. That brings us to about this point in the instructions. In addition to those basic questions about anxiety and stress, we're also going to include some questions that assess demographic information, such as age, gender, and high school or college status. Let's go ahead and add that question about age. Here I am in the question block. I want to click on Add New Question. And I'm going to click on the type Text Entry. As I scroll down a bit, I can see here's the question. It provides an opportunity for people to add some text. We want them to add a number. We want them to enter their age. I'm going to show you in a minute how we can make it so that they can only enter a number. But first, let's add our question. So click on the question text and then type in or paste in the question. Hit Tab or click somewhere else, and that information will be entered. Now remember, when we've highlighted a question, you can see here we're working within this question. That's when the various options for that question appear. So right over here are options for that text entry question. And I can list some response requirements. So for example, I can turn on force a response. I don't want to do that. I can turn on add validation. I do want to do that. So here are my options for validation. I'm going to click on content type because what I want them to enter is not an email address, but a number. This ensures that when people respond to this question, they'll need to enter a number. All right, let's add our next question. Let's add that question about gender. So again, from that question block, within that question block, I'm going to click on Add New Question. The gender question is a multiple choice question, so we'll click on that. I'm going to scroll down a little bit and then edit the text area. Now check this out because Qualtrics is actually pretty smart. So I'm going to paste in that question. And then I'm going to click my Tab key so that that information is entered. Qualtrics recognized that this is a common question and it suggested response options. And actually, those are pretty good response options. Male, female, non-binary, third gender, or prefer not to say. So let's just go ahead and use Qualtrics suggestions. That brings us to about right here in the instructions. It says, by default, the end of survey section displays a message thanking participants and letting them know that their responses have been recorded. And the default message really is fine for our needs. If you scroll down just a little bit, you see that third section, end of survey section, and it says, we thank you for your time spent taking this survey, your response has been recorded. That's fine. We'll just leave that as it is. That brings us to about right here in the instructions. Let me show you how to auto-number the questions. As I scroll up, I see question 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 1, 2. Now, I can renumber those by hand, or I can go up to Tools and click on Auto Number Questions. Go ahead and click that. We want those questions numbered sequentially. Click Apply. Now, we know that our introduction isn't actually a question, but it's fine that Qualtrics numbers it that way. And we can see as we scroll down, everything is now numbered appropriately. Let's put just a few finishing touches on this survey. You can see we are primarily over here in the Survey Builder section, but this section right here you might want to play with. It says that we can change the look and the feel. Go ahead and click on that. You can see that there are some options for themes. The themes that Ohio University has selected are really fine for what we're doing, but you can make some subtle changes if you'd like. You can change the layout. There are some general options. For example, when we look at this sample, we can see that there's just an arrow for the next button. I kind of like it to actually say next, so we can type that in, next, and you can see that as I do it, it shows me how it's going to look. Same thing for previous. We can type in the word previous. And now on the screen, it'll show it that way when people want to go to the previous screen. So feel free to check out some of those options. If you do make changes, make sure you click on Apply. And then to get back to your survey, just go right back up here to the Survey Builder section. After you have it all completed, then it's a good idea to hit the Preview button. Then look very closely at your survey, both how it would look on a large screen and how it would look on a cell phone screen. Go through it and make sure you're happy with it. That brings us to about this part of the instructions. Once you're finished building the survey, click Publish in the upper right corner. So right over here, I'm going to click on Publish. Qualtrics saves different versions that you've been working on. So if you'd like, you can give this version a name. If anything, I just put down the date. And then I'm going to go ahead and click Publish. Now, even though your survey is published, nobody knows where it is. That's what this link is for right here. This is a link to your specific survey. Go ahead and click on Copy Link. You're going to share that link with the rest of the class, and I'm going to look at that link. Once I approve your survey, then you can share that link with others and we can start collecting data. And I'll give more information about that at a later point. Go ahead and click on OK. Now, let me prove to you that that link works. I'm going to go up to another browser window, and I'm going to paste that link that I just copied into the browser, and I'm going to hit Enter. And now you can see that the survey opens up. It's likely that you might misplace that link at some point, and you might need to copy it again. Let me show you how you can do that. When you log into Qualtrics, again, go ahead and find that home screen. Although you might see some options to get into your projects over here, sometimes those projects are entered in various areas that you're not actually interested in, like maybe the results section. So I always open the projects from over here, and I just click on the project name. That always brings me to the Survey Builder screen, and that's a screen that you're going to be familiar with. But what we're going to want to do right here is click on Distributions. This section provides different options for distributing your survey, and we want that anonymous link. So click on Anonymous Link. This is the same link that we copied before, and you can go ahead and copy it again. That brings us to this part of the instructions. What you're going to do is share that survey link with the rest of us via the discussion board. I'm going to show you a way to do that that is most efficient and least annoying. You'll see what I mean in a minute. So here I am in our Blackboard course website. the instructions state that you need to post your link in the appropriate discussion board. So go ahead and click on Discussions. And at that time, you'll see the appropriate discussion board. So just click that link to open it. You'll, of course, want to create a new thread. So click on that. Scroll up just a bit and then enter a subject. And then scroll down and let me show you what's going to happen when you paste in your survey link. If you just simply paste in your link, and I usually do that using my keyboard, I just hit Control-V to paste. Once you put that in there and you continue to work, you'll see that Blackboard will automatically format that. So you can see I'm no longer able to see where that link is actually going. And here's another thing, which is actually really annoying. If someone were to click on that link, it would open it up right there in this particular browser tab. In other words, it would take people out of Blackboard. We want to set it up so that that link will open in a new tab. So students can check out your survey, but then they can get back to Blackboard exactly where they were very easily. So it's very easy to do that. If you look right over here, you see this icon? It says Insert or Edit a Link. So I'm going to click on that. It's asking for the URL. That's the web link. That's that web address. So I'm going to paste that in. At that point, I can tab down to the next field, the text to display. It will display the actual link. I can leave it like that. You can put in a title if you want. Frank's survey link. And then here's an important part. It says open link in, and I can say new window. This, my friends, is the least annoying way. It's the most efficient way to post your link. So then go ahead and click on Save. And let me show you what's going to happen. If I submit that and then go back and view it, I actually see two links. This is the one that I don't like. This is the one that I don't recommend. If I were to click on it right now, it would simply open up my survey right there on this tab, and it would essentially close Blackboard. But if I click on this link right here, you can see it opens up my survey in another window. And then when students are done checking out your survey, when I'm done checking out your survey, I can simply close that tab and be right back to Blackboard. So my friends, I recommend that you post your survey links using that method. That brings us to the end of the instructions. If you have any questions about anything, just let me know. Thanks. I'll see you in the next video.